Democrats call Trump a king, then bow down to an actual king. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Haley Ficuciello. And today, I honestly have to ask, are Democrats even trying anymore? Because if you needed proof that modern American politics have become one giant theoretical performance filled with hypocrisy, contradiction, and selective outrage, last week gave us a masterpiece. You see, for months now, Democrats across America have been screaming about authoritarianism. They've compared President Donald Trump to a dictator. They've called him a monarch, a tyrant, a king, and of course, they organized those now famous No King protests. That's right, No King. Very dramatic, very Revolutionary War core, very social media friendly. You had Democratic senators, Democratic House members, activist groups, celebrity influencers, governors, local politicians, all standing in front of a microphone pretending America was one executive order away from Buckingham Palace. And then the actual King of England showed up. And suddenly, the same people yelling "No Kings" look like Heston trying to win backseat passes to the royal wedding. I mean, you can't make that up. Last week, King Charles III and Queen Camilla visited the United States, and watching the Democrats react to the royal visit was one of the funniest political spectacles I've seen in years. Because apparently, No Kings has terms and conditions. Apparently, the slogan actually means no American king, but British royalty? Oh, absolutely. Bring out the cameras. Now let's talk specifically about New Jersey, because as a lifelong New Jersey resident, I nearly spit out my coffee watching Governor Mikey Sherrill meeting King Charles and Queen Camilla in New York City. This is the same Mikey Sherrill who just weeks ago was helping launch and energize one of the No Kings demonstrations in Princeton, New Jersey. Weeks ago, not years ago, not during another administration, not back in college, weeks ago. And suddenly, there she is smiling ear to ear, posing for photos like a child who just won front row tickets to Disney World. The body language alone told the story. And listen, there's nothing wrong with diplomacy. There's nothing wrong with greeting foreign leaders. That's not the issue. The issue is unbelievable hypocrisy. Because if you truly believe America was under some terrifying imperial threat, wouldn't you at least pretend to be uncomfortable around the actual king? But no. Instead, many Democratic leaders look absolutely thrilled. The same people lecturing to Americans about democracy suddenly being royal watchers overnight. Honestly, I half expected CNN to start broadcasting commentaries about crown jewels and royal hand waves like it was the Super Bowl. And maybe the funniest part of it all, King Charles literally is a king. Not metaphorically, not rhetorically, not politically exaggerated, an actual king with actual crown, living in an actual palace, representing an actual monarchy. And yet, somehow, President Trump, who was democratically elected, is the dangerous monarch. You see the absurdity yet? Because the American left has spent years trying to convince people that the strongest leadership automatically equals dictatorship, that enforcing border equals authoritarianism, that putting Americans first equals fascism, that disagreeing with progressive ideology somehow threatens democracy itself. But when real royalty arrives, the outrage disappears faster than campaign promises after Election Day. And this is why more Americans are tuning out political propaganda, because people are exhausted by the double standards. They are exhausted by manufactured outrage. And frankly, they're exhausted by politicians who spend more time creating slogans than creating solutions. Let's be honest here. What exactly are Democrats offering Americans right now besides anti-Trump messaging? Seriously, what economic plan? What inflation strategy? What border policy? What long-term energy vision? What crime reduction proposal? What's the affordability plan for middle-class Americans? Because lately, the Democratic platform seems to consistent entirely of orange man is bad. That's it. That's a strategy. No solutions, no inspiration, no vision, just endless outrage and theoretical performance. And Americans are beginning to notice because while families are struggling with costs, while cities continue battling crime, while younger Americans barely afford homes, Democrats are organizing no king rallies once a week, then grinning ear to ear while meeting literal royalty the next. It's political theater, that's what it is. And the American people are smarter than they often give credit for. You know what really amazes me? The Democratic Party once claimed to stand for working class Americans. Now much of the party seems to be obsessed with social media optics, celebrity politics, and virtue signal performance designed for cable television clips. And the royal exists exposed that perfectly. Because beneath all the screaming, beneath all the dramatic language, beneath all the Trump is king rhetoric, many of these politicians clearly love power, prestige, and elite political culture just as much as everyone else. Maybe more. That's why a contradiction looks so ridiculous. People saw it. Oh, yes, people definitely saw it. Especially here in New Jersey, because voters remember. They remember the speeches, they remember the protests, they remember the slogans, and when those same politicians suddenly become starstruck around actual monarchy, well, the credibility problem becomes impossible to ignore. At some point, Democrats are going to have to decide what exactly they believe. Because right now, the message changes depending on who's standing in front of the camera. And Americans are tired of inconsistency. They are tired of being lectured by politicians who say one thing one month and perform exact opposite the next. And maybe that's why so many Americans are beginning to reject the madness, because eventually people stop listening to the consistent fear campaign. Eventually people recognize propaganda when they see it. And eventually political hypocrisy becomes so obvious that even the media struggles to spin it. Though, trust me, they'll try. Look, at the end of the day, this entire episode was unintentionally hilarious. The No King crowd practically rode out a red carpet for a king. You truly could not script irony better than that. And perhaps the biggest takeaway from all of this is simple. Americans want leadership, not slogans, not performance outrage, not selective principle, and certainly not politicians who scream no king while looking absolutely enchanted next to one. I'm Haley Ficuciello. Thank you for watching. From all of us at Englebrook Independent News, I hope you have a good evening.